Welcome to Zoe Stories. My ex's sister made me her sissy girlfriend. In the gentle hum of a restless suburb, where secrets often hid beneath the veneer of mundane daily routines, there lived a man named Adrien. To the outside world, Adrien was an unassuming software developer with an impeccable record and a reserved nature that made him blend in effortlessly with his colleagues. Yet behind his guarded eyes and measured smiles, a tempest of secret desires raged. Adrien harbored a passion for crossdressing, a passion that had burgeoned quietly over the years, nurtured in the silence of late nights and solitary reflections. It wasn't mere vanity or whimsy that led him down this path. Rather, it was a deep, almost forbidden need to understand and express the hidden facets of his identity. Adrien's journey into the world of transformation began long before he found solace in the soft glow of his computer screen. From his earliest memories, he had been captivated by the art of self-expression, the way a perfect accessory could elevate an outfit, or how a carefully applied shade of lipstick could transform a reflection in a mirror. As a child, he had been fascinated by the theatrical costumes of plays at school and the elegant dresses worn by actresses in classic films. However, societal expectations and the unyielding pressure to conform kept this intrigue safely locked away. As he matured into adulthood, his professional responsibilities demanded an image of stoicism and conventionality. Yet, night after night, in the quiet corners of his modest apartment, Adrien would let his hair down, both literally and metaphorically, and allow himself to explore the transformation he longed for. Adrien's apartment, a modest but cozy space nestled in a quiet neighborhood, served as both his sanctuary and stage. The living room boasted a mix of modern furnishings and vintage artifacts, a silent nod to his eclectic tastes. Hushed jazz music often filled the background as he meticulously organized his secret collection, an array of carefully curated garments, delicate lace lingerie, vibrant scarves, and a treasure trove of makeup that he stored with both pride and caution. Each item was selected for its ability to evoke a spectrum of emotions, from nostalgia and longing to empowerment and vulnerability. In this space, the burdens of the day melted away, replaced by the thrill of transformation and the liberating embrace of his inner self. Yet, as much as his apartment provided comfort, it was also the scene of his internal conflicts. Adrien's crossdressing was not a mere indulgence, but a vital form of self-expression, a rebellion against a world that equated masculinity with rigidity. His dual life was fraught with tension. By day, he was the reliable, predictable Adrien, immersed in lines of code and data streams. By night, however, he transitioned into a figure of delicate grace, a stark contrast that both exhilarated and terrified him. Every moment of self-transformation was punctuated by the fear of discovery. Adrien wrestled with the dichotomy of deep-rooted shame and soaring excitement, the thrill of wearing a silk dress, the gentle whisper of fabric against skin, and the seductive allure of high heels all stirred emotions that were as bewildering as they were empowering. In the midst of these clandestine performances, there existed a poignant complexity in Adrien's personal relationships, particularly with Aurora. Aurora, radiant, assertive, and carrying an air of confidence, was more than just a girlfriend. She was the unexpected catalyst that had upturned Adrien's guarded existence. Their relationship was intricate, woven with threads of both passion and trepidation. Aurora was, in fact, his ex's sister, a relationship that had been unpredictable from the start. Initially, Adrien had been reluctant to intertwine his secret with someone so closely related to his past heartbreak. Yet Aurora's magnetic charm and her innate ability to see past facades drew him in relentlessly. Aurora's world was different from Adrien's meticulous routines. With a vivacious spirit and a tendency towards spontaneity, she lived her life boldly, unafraid to challenge societal norms. It was this very boldness that both unnerved and fascinated Adrien. Their interactions were a delicate dance of contrasts. Aurora, with her unfiltered candor and rebellious humor, and Adrien, whose reserved exterior concealed a whirlwind of internal debates. Despite his fears and uncertainties, The allure of their relationship lay in its power to disrupt the confines of his carefully controlled existence. Aurora's presence was both an exhilarating risk and a potential path to embracing the entirety of his self, a tempting promise that he was slowly but surely ready to explore. Within the safe retreat of their shared moments, Aurora had come to know small fragments of Adrien's secret life. Her perceptive eyes often lingered a little too long at subtle details, a glance at a piece of fabric out of place, the gentle rise of excitement in his voice when a new outfit was mentioned. While she never directly broached the subject, her questions and enigmatic smiles hinted at an unspoken understanding. To Aurora, the transformation was as much an invitation as it was a mystery. Her intrigue wasn't merely about the aesthetics of crossdressing, it was about witnessing a man become more whole, about the raw vulnerability that accompanied every change of attire. In many ways, she had become a silent partner in Adrien's journey, her presence softening the harsh edges of his secret world and infusing it with a tenderness that he had never dared to dream of. However, as tender as these shared moments were, they were underscored by an ever-present tension, a suspense that gnawed at Adrien with every tick of the clock. The fear of exposure was a constant companion, shadowing every decision, every brushstroke of makeup applied in haste during the wee hours of the morning. Was he chasing the thrill of discovery, or fleeing from the dreaded possibility of judgment? The question itself was a double-edged sword. Did the exhilarating liberation of embracing his true self outweigh the risk of losing Aurora's unwavering support and the respect of his professional world? This internal battle was as intricate and finely balanced as the layers of makeup he so carefully applied each night. As the days melted into nights, Adrien found himself teetering on the precipice of change, a fragile balance between a life that was safe and predictable and the one filled with danger and possibility. Each choice he made in the quiet solitude of his apartment was a step deeper into a realm where transformation was both an art and a rebellion. The soft glow of his vanity mirror became a portal, reflecting not only his physical changes, but the evolution of his inner world. Amid the hush of midnight, as whispered confidences mingled with the rustle of luxurious fabric, Adrien began to understand that his passion for crossdressing was not a secret to be hidden away forever. It was an integral part of his identity, a source of strength and a beacon of hope that he could one day share with the world. In this uneasy tension between the public and the private, a dramatic life was quietly unfurling, one that promised to blur the lines between fear and desire, conformity and rebellion. As the stage was subtly set for the unfolding drama of passion, peril, and transformation, Adrien sensed that the days ahead might force him to choose between the comfortable confines of anonymity and the liberating but risky embrace of his true self. And in that delicate balance lay the heart of his story, a narrative that would soon spiral into dramatic confrontation, leaving both him and those close to him forever changed. It was supposed to be a quiet weekend. Adrien had planned everything meticulously. His roommate was out of town, and Aurora had said she'd be visiting her mother for the day. That gave him a full, uninterrupted Saturday to indulge in the one part of his life that no one fully understood, or so he thought. He stood in front of the tall mirror in his bedroom, heart thudding with anticipation as he held the satin blouse up to his chest. The blush pink shimmered slightly in the morning light, the fabric soft and cool against his skin. He had chosen it deliberately, pairing it with a high-waisted skirt and delicate heels he'd hidden at the back of his closet. His makeup was already done, foundation carefully blended, lashes curled and extended, soft pink lipstick giving his reflection a subtle, kissable finish. He exhaled deeply. This was his real therapy, the only place where he felt whole. Slipping into the clothes was always a ritual, one that felt sacred. Every button fastened, every buckle tightened, was another piece of armor in a battle for identity he never spoke of aloud. He walked slowly to the mirror again, heels clicking softly against the hardwood floor. His reflection took his breath away. There she was, the woman inside him, graceful and poised, hiding behind years of restraint. He twirled slightly. Just once. Just enough to watch the skirt flutter. It was perfect. Then came the knock. Adrien froze, panic punching through his chest like a bullet. He hadn't ordered anything, hadn't invited anyone, hadn't even so much as texted anyone today. The knock came again, firmer this time. In a frenzy, he rushed to the bedroom door, yanked it open slightly, and tried to listen. "Adrien? Are you in there?" "It's me, Aurora." His heart stopped.
No.
No, this couldn't be happening. She was supposed to be with her mother. He hadn't even heard the front door open. How did she get in? "Hey, the door was unlocked," she called again. "Don't freak out. I just needed to grab my phone charger. I left it here last night, remember?" He didn't remember. He couldn't remember anything now except the sound of her voice getting closer. The soft creak of the hallway floorboards under her feet. The clicking of her boots. Adrien. She was right outside his door now. He grabbed at his skirt, looked around frantically for something, anything, to throw over himself. A hoodie? A blanket?
But there was no time.
The door handle turned. "Wait, Aurora, don't." Too late. The door swung open, and there she stood. Her eyes landed on him, wide and blinking, lips parted in shock. Adrien's breath caught in his throat. The silence lasted only a second, but it stretched endlessly in his mind. Then Aurora's gaze swept over him, from the glossy heels to the perfectly applied eyeliner. She stepped inside slowly, shutting the door behind her with a soft click. "Wow," she finally said, voice low and unreadable. "You really went all out, didn't you?" Adrien couldn't speak. His voice refused to work. His arms crossed over his chest instinctively, trying to shield himself like a scolded child. I thought you were gone all day," he managed to whisper, cheeks flaming with humiliation. "I was supposed to be," she replied, walking around him in slow, deliberate steps, as if studying a rare painting. "But I'm kind of glad I came back." His head snapped up, startled. "What?" She stopped in front of him, tilted her head, and gave a little smirk. "I always suspected something. The way you looked at certain things when we went shopping. The way you hesitated when we talked about makeup. You weren't as subtle as you thought." He looked down, utterly exposed and trembling. "I'm sorry. I didn't mean to hide this. I just didn't know how you'd react." Aurora reached forward and touched the hem of his blouse gently. "It's silk," she murmured. "You have good taste." He looked up again, confused. "You're not angry?" "Why would I be angry?" she said softly. "Honestly, I'm kind of impressed. I mean, the eyeliner is flawless. Your blending could use a little work, but we'll get there." She smiled, slow and wicked. "Oh, Adrien. You really don't know what you just walked into, do you?" He blinked. "What do you mean?" Aurora stepped closer, her voice suddenly hushed and teasing. "You just gave me so much power. And, trust me, I know exactly what to do with it." A chill rippled through him. There was something different in her eyes now, something playful, dangerous, and commanding. "I could walk out of here," she said, circling him again, her voice like velvet, "and pretend I didn't see anything. I could ignore this whole little fantasy of yours. But where's the fun in that?" Adrien swallowed hard, the silence between them tightening like a noose. "What are you going to do?" he asked, barely more than a whisper. She paused behind him, then leaned in close, her lips brushing his ear. "I'm going to turn you into the perfect sissy girlfriend," she whispered. "And you're going to thank me for it." His knees went weak. She stepped in front of him again, took his hand, and guided him gently but firmly to sit at the vanity mirror. "You're not hiding anymore, Adrien," she said, her voice firmer now. "Starting today, we're going to explore everything you've been afraid of. And I'm not going to let you back out." He stared at his reflection, breathless. Behind him, Aurora opened the drawer where he kept his makeup and pulled out the blush he hadn't dared to use in months. "You've spent too long living in fear," she said, brushing color across his cheekbones. "It's time to let go." And as she worked, transforming him further, Adrien realized something terrifying and exhilarating. Aurora wasn't going to walk away. She wasn't going to let him go back to his old life. She was going to own his transformation, every brushstroke, every step, every humiliating, beautiful moment. And for the first time in his life, he wasn't sure if he wanted to stop her. The next morning, Adrien woke up to the sound of his phone buzzing. The soft pink satin nightgown Aurora had insisted he sleep in clung to his skin, a silky reminder of everything that had changed in just one night. His cheeks still bore traces of blush, and his lips, still tinted rose, felt strangely natural. He checked the phone. A message from Aurora. Rise and shine, sweetheart kiss mark, we have a lot to do today. Dress cute. I'm picking you up in 30 minutes. No arguments. His stomach twisted with anxiety. She had meant every word she said last night. This wasn't just playful teasing. Aurora had seen him at his most vulnerable, and she didn't just accept it. She took control of it. And now, she was setting the rules. Still groggy and nervous, he got up and opened the closet. Most of his old clothes were shoved aside now, buried beneath the dresses and skirts Aurora had arranged after rummaging through his secret stash. She'd laughed, shocked by how well-stocked it was. Wow, she had said. You've been living a double life, haven't you? Now, she was turning that hidden life into his only one. He chose a pastel sweater and a plaid skirt. Modest, cute, nothing too flashy. He hoped it would be enough to satisfy her. After all, he wasn't sure where she was planning to take him. She arrived with a confident knock on his door, and when he opened it, she gave him a slow once-over. Not bad, she said, adjusting his collar. But you forgot something. What? He asked, genuinely confused. She held up a pink choker with a tiny heart charm dangling from the center.
This.
Every sissy needs one. It's adorable, and it tells the world who you really are. Adrien flushed. Aurora, I don't. Nope, she cut him off, slipping it around his neck and buckling it with a smirk. Not your call anymore. He didn't resist. They got into her car, and she handed him a compact. Fix your lipstick. We're going shopping. Shopping? Like at the mall? She gave him a sharp glance. Of course. You're my new bestie/sissy girlfriend now. And trust me, you're not getting out of public practice. His heart pounded. Aurora, I don't think I can. Adrien. She stopped the car before pulling out, turning to face him fully. Listen to me. You looked amazing last night. You finally looked like the real you. And I'm not going to let you retreat back into that boy shell just because you're scared. He swallowed, eyes on the compact. But what if people laugh? What if they stare? They will, she said bluntly. That's part of the game. But you'll survive. And more importantly, you'll grow. The mall was busy. Of course it was. It had to be today. Aurora strutted in like she owned the place, while Adrien clung to her side, eyes darting around in panic. Every step in those short heels felt like a countdown to exposure. Every giggle nearby sounded like it was aimed at him. Aurora, meanwhile, didn't slow down once. Victoria's secret first, she announced, dragging him inside. His face burned. Aurora, I can't. Sure, she said, handing him a lacy lavender bra. You're wearing this out. Go try it on. I'm not even, I don't need. I don't care, she said. Try it. And this. She tossed a matching pair of panties over the door. Get used to how it feels. Inside the changing room, Adrien stared at himself. His hands trembled as he slipped the bra on, then the panties. They hugged his body with a softness he'd only imagined. Come out and show me, Aurora said. No way. If you don't come out, I'm posting that picture from last night. The one with you twirling in the skirt. His eyes went wide. You wouldn't. Oh, baby, she said sweetly. You really haven't figured me out yet. So he opened the door. Aurora's grin widened. Perfect. I could just eat you up. Can we go? He whispered. Not even close, she replied, tossing a crop top and a pair of thigh-high socks into his arms. We're just getting started. They hit store after store. He tried on short shorts, tight tops, a pink romper that made his face go crimson. She made him walk in front of her, modeling outfits while she filmed little clips on her phone. This is torture, he muttered at one point. No, babe, she whispered, brushing his cheek with her fingers. This is training. Back at her apartment, she poured them both glasses of wine. Adrien sat on the couch, exhausted, legs tucked under him, his skirt slightly riding up. Aurora sat close, too close. You did well today, she said, sipping slowly. I'm proud of you. He blinked at her, unsure how to feel. I wasn't kidding about the sissy girlfriend thing, you know, she added, her voice soft but serious. You are mine now. Adrien's breath hitched. What does that mean? It means, she said, setting her glass down and straddling his lap, you follow my rules.
You wear what I say.
You walk where I lead. You become who I know you truly are. She leaned in close, her lips just above his. And when I say kiss me, you do it without hesitation. Adrien didn't move. Couldn't. So she kissed him. Slow, commanding, and full of possession. When she pulled away, he was breathless. Good girl, she whispered. And just like that, Adrien's world shifted again. He wasn't just playing dress-up anymore. He wasn't just hiding a part of himself in secret. He was becoming hers. Aurora wasn't bluffing. After that kiss, deep, dominant, and undeniable, something changed. Adrien wasn't just experimenting anymore. He was being shaped, molded like clay in her hands, and every time he tried to resist, she reminded him, gently or not, who was in control now. The next few days blurred together. Aurora had packed his schedule like a controlling agent managing her starlet. Makeup tutorials at her vanity table each morning. Feminization exercises in voice and movement. Outfit tests. Confidence walks. Instagram-worthy selfies. Everything tracked, monitored, approved by Aurora. By the end of the week, Adrien couldn't even remember the last time he'd worn boxers. His texts were filled with emojis now. His nails were always painted. He caught himself giggling when Aurora sent him sassy comments. He had a new name, too. Addie. Aurora said one evening, pressing a soft pink name tag into his hand. It suits you. And it's who you are now. He looked at it in silence. The tag sparkled with glitter. I'm not sure I'm ready to let go of
Adrien, he said.
Aurora stepped behind him, wrapping her arms around his waist. Her breath was hot against his ear. Sweetheart, she whispered, you already have. That night, she made him sleep in her bed. I want my good girl beside me, she said, patting the pillow. Addie. He couldn't even stop calling himself that anymore, laid down in a blush-colored satin chemise, his skin tingling. Her presence was overwhelming. He felt smaller every second. You belong to me, she murmured as she turned off the light.
He didn't respond.
He didn't need to. The next morning, she gave him a new assignment. Come out to someone. You're going to tell someone you know, someone from your old life, about Addie, she said. It's time. His throat closed up. Aurora, I can't. You can. And you will. What if they reject me? She smirked. Then they weren't worth your mascara. Addie's heart pounded. The idea terrified him more than anything, but deep down, he knew she was right. If he wanted to stop pretending, he had to face it. He chose his old college friend, Kayla, who'd always been open-minded and fun. He typed the message slowly.
Hey.
I need to tell you something about myself. You've always been a good friend. This is going to sound crazy, but I've started living more truthfully. As a girl. My name is Addie now. Please don't hate me. He stared at the screen, sweating. Then, Kayla replied. OMG, I knew something was up. You always had that pretty face blowing. I guess I'm so proud of you, girl. 2 hearts, tell me everything. Addie dropped the phone and covered his face with his hands, overwhelmed with relief. Aurora picked up the phone, read the message, and smiled.
See? Told you.
But things weren't always easy. The next step in Aurora's plan was a public dinner. A real restaurant. As Addie.
No more hiding, she said.
You're going to look stunning. You're going to walk in like you were born in heels. And you're going to smile when the waiter calls you, ma'am. Got it. Addie nodded weakly. Aurora picked out a red satin dress, tight and short, with a plunging neckline that made Addie blush the moment he saw it. I can't wear that, he gasped. You will, though, she said, handing him matching heels and a velvet clutch. The car ride was quiet. Addie stared at his reflection in the window. The transformation was undeniable. He looked like a girl. A pretty one. But it didn't feel fake anymore. At the restaurant, heads turned. Whispers followed them. Addie froze near the hostess stand. Aurora leaned in and whispered, "Breathe. Own it. You are Addie. Let them look." The hostess smiled. "Table for two, ladies?" Addie's heart skipped. Aurora grinned.
Yes.
"And can we get a corner booth for privacy? My girlfriend is still a little shy." Girlfriend? The word echoed like thunder. When the waiter came, Addie fumbled with the menu, barely able to look up. But then Aurora reached over and held his hand on the table, brushing her thumb against his polished nails. "You're doing great," she said, her voice soft now, full of real pride. The evening passed like a dream. Addie laughed at Aurora's jokes, sipped wine, and even complimented the waiter's bow tie. When the check came, Aurora paid, leaned close, and whispered, "That was your first real date. And you were perfect." Back in her apartment, Addie kicked off the heels, flopped on the couch, and sighed in exhaustion. "You just made a massive step," Aurora said, sitting beside him. "And there's no going back now." "I know," Addie whispered. "You're not Adrien anymore." "No," Addie said. "I'm not." Aurora smiled and kissed his cheek. "Good girl." That night, as Addie stared at her reflection before bed, long lashes, glossy lips, and soft pink pajamas, she felt a strange mix of fear and freedom. Her identity was no longer her own, but it was also the most honest she had ever been. And Aurora wasn't just guiding her. Aurora was owning her. Aurora's grip over Addie only tightened. What had started as a playful experiment had become full-blown domination, psychological, emotional, and physical. Aurora didn't just want to transform Addie into a woman. She wanted to refine her into perfection, her version of it. And Addie? She didn't fight it anymore. She woke up each morning in soft lace and pastel colors, makeup already in her routine, her voice lighter, her thoughts different. She found herself humming while curling her hair, taking selfies without prompting, and adjusting her posture like a trained model. But Aurora wasn't done. "You're pretty, Addie," she said one afternoon as they sat on the couch, her hand resting possessively on Addie's thigh. "But you're not perfect yet." Addie blinked. I thought you were happy with me." "I am. But perfection takes work. You trust me, don't you?" Addie nodded, voice trembling. "Yes." "Good girl. Because it's time we took it to the next level." That next level began with etiquette lessons. Aurora made Addie watch hours of videos on how to sit, stand, speak, and even gesture like a poised socialite. She critiqued her every movement, her tone of voice, her posture. No more slouching. No more nervous fidgeting. "Ladies glide, Addie," Aurora would say, pushing her to walk with a book balanced on her head. "They don't stomp like boys." She replaced Addie's phone with a new one, pink case, a background of the two of them cheek to cheek, and new contacts labeled with girl names. She even changed Addie's email signature to Addison Blake with a butterfly emoji. Addie protested once. "Aurora, this is too much." Aurora shoved a compact mirror in her face. "Look at her. Look at the girl in the mirror and tell me that's too much." Addie stared. Her soft eyes, her full lips, her perfect brows. She didn't see Adrien anymore. Adrien was a ghost. She whispered, "She's beautiful." Aurora nodded. "Exactly. And she belongs to me." Then came the charm school weekend. Aurora booked a hotel suite in the city. "A full transformation experience," she said. Addie wasn't prepared. When they arrived, there were 3 other women waiting, tall, elegant, mercilessly polished. Aurora introduced Addie like a trophy. "This is my project." "She's almost there." The women scrutinized her like a panel of judges. Addie wilted. The weekend was brutal. Each woman trained her in something new, dancing in heels, flirting with grace, ordering cocktails with elegance, even sitting down and crossing her legs like royalty. "No, no, no," one woman snapped. "You don't drop into a seat. You descend, like a rose petal." By Sunday, Addie's feet were blistered, her back ached, and her cheeks were sore from forced smiles. But when she caught a glimpse of herself in the hotel mirror, Black cocktail dress, pearls, flawless makeup, soft waves cascading over her shoulders, she gasped. She looked perfect. Aurora noticed. That's the Addie I've been waiting for. Back home, Aurora rewarded her with a silk gown and a private candlelit dinner in the apartment. You've earned this, she said, feeding Addie strawberries dipped in chocolate. Addie's heart thudded wildly. I didn't know I could become this, she whispered. Aurora leaned in, eyes gleaming. You didn't. I did. I saw the girl buried inside you. I pulled her out. And now? You're mine. Addie's lip trembled. You made me. Aurora smiled wickedly. I made you the perfect lady. Then she kissed her. Deep, possessive, sealing Addie's fate. Later that night, Addie knelt before Aurora, helping her remove her heels like a devoted partner. Her nails were pristine. Her makeup was still flawless. She looked up at Aurora like she was a goddess. I belong to you, Addie whispered. You always have, Aurora said, stroking her hair. You just didn't know it until now. Addie laid her head in Aurora's lap, tears threatening to fall, not from sadness, but from something terrifying and exhilarating. She wasn't pretending anymore. She had become the woman Aurora always wanted her to be. It was a Wednesday when Aurora made it official. Addie had just returned from grocery shopping, heels clicking across the tile, purse over her shoulder, soft curls bouncing with every step, when she found Aurora sitting at the kitchen table, a thin stack of documents in front of her. Sit, Aurora said gently but firmly. Addie obeyed. Aurora pushed the papers across the table. I've taken care of everything. Addie blinked. Everything. Aurora nodded. Your lease is up. I paid off your car, sold it too, actually. Your gym membership? Cancelled. Your email?
Changed.
Bank accounts, now under your new legal name. Addie Blake. Addie's breath hitched. You what? I even pulled strings through a friend who works at the DMV. Your new ID's in the mail. Female. Full name, Addison Renee Blake. Birth gender? Doesn't matter anymore. Addie's hand trembled as she picked up the paperwork. The signature line at the bottom already had her name in beautiful cursive. She hadn't signed it, but she had. It was like her body had already accepted it. Why, she whispered. Why are you doing this? Aurora looked her in the eye. Because Adrien was miserable. Adrien was hiding, living in fear, clinging to a life that never fit. Addie. She leaned in. Addie glows. I didn't ask for this, Addie said, her voice cracking. No, Aurora agreed. But you needed it. And I gave it to you. Addie stared down at her reflection in the glass table. The makeup. The soft blouse. The French manicure. She didn't recognize the man anymore. Just the woman Aurora sculpted. And God help her. She didn't want to go back. Aurora stood, walking behind her.
Sign it, Addie.
Make it real. Addie's fingers hovered over the pen. The clock ticked loud in the silence. 1 minute, 2. And then, with a deep breath, she signed. Addison Renee Blake. She looked up at Aurora. It's done. Aurora's smile was radiant.
No, sweetheart.
It's just beginning. The next day, Aurora gave Addie her final test. You're going to brunch, she said, placing a floral sundress on the bed. With my sister. Addie froze. What? With Megan. Alone. Just 2 girlfriends catching up. But what if she recognizes me? Aurora tilted her head. Then you're not ready. But I think you are. Addie stared at the dress. Her heartbeat pounded in her ears. A year ago, the idea would have made her sick. Now, she slipped into the dress like second skin. Brunch was a blur. Megan complimented her makeup. Her heels. Her choice of mimosa. Not once did she flinch or raise suspicion. She called her Addie like it had always been her name. Addie smiled, giggled at the right jokes, crossed her legs elegantly. It was effortless. And when Megan excused herself to the restroom, Addie stared at her reflection in the mirrored wall across from her. The way she held her glass. The way her earrings shimmered. The way her voice lingered in the air. She wasn't faking anymore. She was Addie. A single tear rolled down her cheek, but it wasn't from fear. It was gratitude. relief. Aurora had stolen everything Adrien ever had, and in return, she had given Addie a life she never believed she deserved. When she got home, Aurora was waiting. Well, Addie stepped into the living room, heels clicking. Her smile was radiant. She never suspected a thing. Aurora opened her arms. Addie ran into them. "Thank you," Addie whispered. "For what?" "For taking everything. For showing me who I really am." Aurora kissed her forehead. "I didn't make you this way, Addie. I just gave you permission." Later that night, as Addie stood in front of the mirror removing her makeup, she found herself smiling. Not because she was becoming Adrien again, but because she wasn't. She wiped away the last trace of mascara, and what remained was her. Not a disguise. Not a game. Just Addie. Always Addie. She looked at herself, at the girl in the mirror, and whispered, "Thank you for finding me." Behind her, Aurora's voice was soft but firm.
She was always there.
I just refused to let her disappear. And Addie smiled, because for the first time in her life, she felt seen.
Loved. Free.
The sun was setting over the city, casting long, golden shadows across the apartment floor. Addie stood at the window in her new silk robe, sipping herbal tea, watching the light bounce off the glass towers around her. A calm had settled over her life like never before. No more hiding. No more denial. Just Addie. The phone on the kitchen counter buzzed. She set her cup down and padded across the room in her fuzzy slippers, heart still fluttering every time she saw her name pop up on screen. Addie Renee Blake. It still felt like magic. It was a text. From Megan. "Can we talk? Something's been bugging me." Her stomach tightened. Addie stared at the screen. That wasn't the kind of message you get after a casual brunch. She typed back quickly. "Of course. Everything okay?" A pause. Then, "You remind me of someone I used to know. And I think I know who you are." Addie dropped the phone.
No. No, no, no. Not now.
She rushed to Aurora's room, phone still in hand. "Aurora." Aurora looked up from her book, instantly catching the panic in Addie's voice. "She knows," Addie whispered. "Megan knows." Aurora stood, calm but focused. "What did she say?" Addie handed her the phone. Aurora read the messages, her lips tightening. This could ruin everything. My job, my reputation. I mean, Megan's family. She could tell your parents. Or mine. Or everyone. Aurora was already moving to her laptop. "We need to be smart. If Megan knows, we need to control the narrative." Addie shook her head. "Control the? This isn't PR. I can't go public with this." "You might not have a choice," Aurora said. "And maybe that's not such a bad thing." Addie backed away.
No.
"No, I can't. I'm not ready." Aurora walked over and took Addie's hands. "You're already living it, Addie. The world just hasn't caught up yet." Addie felt her throat close up. What if they hate me? What if they don't? Before Addie could respond, her phone buzzed again. Another message. "Meet me. Alone.
Tomorrow.
Café Verde. 9 a.m. Addie's fingers trembled as she stared at the screen. Aurora's voice was barely a whisper behind her. "You have to go." The next morning came fast. Addie dressed carefully, choosing a soft lavender blouse, black skinny jeans, low heels. Subtle makeup. Just enough to feel like herself. Her reflection in the mirror stared back, calm but terrified. Café Verde was quiet, tucked away behind a bookstore. Addie arrived a few minutes early, her heart hammering like a drumbeat. And then she saw Megan. Already there. Already watching. Addie walked over slowly.
Sat down.
Megan sipped her coffee. Then leaned forward, her eyes searching. "I knew it," she said quietly.
Adrien.
Addie froze. Megan didn't look angry. She looked curious. "I knew there was something familiar in your eyes. But the way you laughed, smiled, that's what gave you away." Addie swallowed. "I didn't mean to lie." Megan raised a hand. "You didn't. Not really. You are her. And honestly, I'm not even sure who Adrien was anymore." Silence stretched between them. And then Megan added, "I told someone." Addie's heart stopped. What? I didn't mean to, I swear. It just slipped out.
Who?
Megan looked down. And then back up, her voice soft. Another girl. Addie frowned. What other girl? And that's when Megan leaned closer, voice low. You're not the first one Aurora's done this to. The words hit like a punch. Addie blinked. What do you mean? Megan straightened. I think Aurora has a pattern. You're not the first boy she's turned into a girl. You might not even be the last. Addie shook her head.
No.
She helped me. She saved me. Or maybe, Megan said, she chose you, like she's chosen others. Maybe you're just part of her game. Addie stood, breath shaky. I don't believe you. Megan's final words followed her as she walked away. Then ask her what happened to her ex before you. The one she never talks about. The one who disappeared. That night, Addie confronted Aurora. Aurora didn't deny it. She just smiled. And whispered, Are you sure you want to know who came before you? Addie's heart raced. Because maybe, just maybe, Aurora hadn't just transformed her out of love. Maybe this had never been about Addie at all. Maybe she was next in a long line. And maybe she didn't care. But still, she had to know the truth. Even if it destroyed everything.